Reality TV has always been a mix of strategy, endurance, and pure chaos, but every so often, a finale moment explodes into something unforgettable. For fans of Big Brother, that unforgettable moment this season came courtesy of Vince Panaro, the fiery, charismatic, and often unpredictable house guest who made it all the way to finale night only to stumble in dramatic fashion during the last head of household competition. What followed wasn't just a meltdown, it was reality TV history in the making. Now, in his first in-depth conversation since the live finale, Vince is finally ready to speak out. He's not holding back about what really went down, what triggered his emotional unraveling, and how he feels about walking away as runner-up after coming within a single challenge of winning it all. This is the story of Vince Panaro's journey from early season underdog to finalist, the high-stakes breakdown that shocked fans, and what comes next for the man who left the Big Brother house as both a villain and a fan favorite. The rise of Vince Panaro. When Vince walked into the Big Brother house on premiere night, viewers weren't sure what to make of him. At 31, a self-proclaimed strategic hustler from Chicago, he entered the game with a confident swagger and the kind of sharp wit that immediately caught the attention of fans. "I told myself, I'm not here to be wallpaper," Vince recalls with a grin. "If I go out early, fine. But people are gonna remember me. That was the promise I made to myself walking in. And remember him they did." From week one, Vince was a firecracker in competitions and a storm in social strategy. He quickly aligned himself with a loose group of competitors who called themselves the Grid, a mix of athletic players and social manipulators who controlled the early weeks of the game. "People underestimated me at first," Vince says. "They thought I was just a loudmouth who couldn't keep his temper in check. And, okay, fair. I do have a temper. But I also had the patience to let bigger targets burn themselves out while I built my path." What set Vince apart was his ability to walk the line between entertainment and manipulation. He was brash, yes, but he was also magnetic. He could argue with someone 1 minute and make them laugh the next. That charm carried him through several sticky weeks when his name came up as a possible eviction target. By mid-season, Vince wasn't just surviving, he was thriving. He started winning key competitions, securing safety for himself, and slowly dismantling alliances that stood in his way. "I knew I was gonna make enemies," Vince admits. "But if you play too safe, you're not really playing. And Big Brother's not a game for cowards." The pressure builds. But with power came pressure, and by the time the final weeks rolled around, cracks in Vince's game started to show. His aggressive style, once entertaining, became polarizing. House guests whispered about his unpredictability. "I had days where the walls closed in on me," Vince reflects. "It's 90-something days in there with no escape, no phone, no family, no reality check. The smallest thing feels massive. A look, a whisper, someone eating the last slice of pizza. And all that builds until, boom." Vince's boom moments became a recurring theme of the season. He had shouting matches with allies and enemies alike, slammed doors in frustration, and even threatened to self-evict during a particularly heated week when he felt betrayed. Still, he fought his way to finale night, where it all came down to the final head of household competition, a grueling three-part challenge that decides who controls the final eviction and ultimately who sits in the final two chairs. The meltdown heard around the world. The live finale was set. The audience was buzzing. Vince, along with his final two competitors, Taylor, a calm strategist, and Miguel, a competition beast, prepared for the ultimate showdown. But as the second part of the final hoe kicked off, something in Vince snapped. "It wasn't just nerves," he says now. "It was everything hitting me at once: sleep deprivation, stress, the weight of knowing I'd come so far and that if I blew it here, all of it might be for nothing. And then, I blew it." The competition required physical endurance and puzzle solving under pressure, two areas where Vince had previously excelled. But only minutes in, he fumbled a critical step. His hands shook. He cursed out loud. Then, in a moment that stunned both the live audience and millions watching at home, Vince ripped off his competition gear, threw it to the ground, and stormed out of the challenge area. Producers scrambled. The hosts tried to calm the moment. Vince paced back and forth, muttering under his breath, visibly unraveling. At one point, he punched a wall padding and shouted, "I can't do this. I'm done." The meltdown was raw, chaotic, and unfiltered, a complete collapse of the confident persona he had carried all season. "Honestly, I blacked out a little," Vince admits now. "I was so in my head, so convinced I had ruined everything, that I just exploded. Watching it back later was painful. That's not who I wanted to be remembered as." Despite the outburst, Vince eventually returned to finish the competition, but the damage was done. His meltdown cost him valuable time, and Miguel secured the win. That loss forced Vince into the mercy of his competitors. When Miguel won the final part of the hoe and chose to evict Taylor, Vince was dragged into the final two by default. Facing the jury. If Vince thought the hard part was over, he was wrong. The jury of evicted house guests, many of whom still bore grudges against him, grilled him relentlessly. They asked about his loyalty, his temper, and, of course, the meltdown that had become the talk of the season. I knew they were gonna roast me, Vince says with a laugh. I burned a lot of bridges. And the meltdown didn't help my case. They saw me lose control at the biggest moment of the game. That's not exactly a confidence booster for giving someone $500,000. Despite giving a fiery final speech in which he claimed he played the boldest, bloodiest game of the season, the jury ultimately awarded the win to Miguel in a 6-3 vote. Vince finished as runner-up. Addressing the meltdown. Now, weeks after leaving the house, Vince is ready to confront the elephant in the room. Yeah, I melted down. I'm not proud of it, he says candidly. But here's the thing, Big Brother exposes you. It breaks you down to your rawest self. I'm human. I cracked under the pressure. And you know what? That's okay. He insists he doesn't regret the way he played the game, even if his emotional volatility cost him the win. If I had played safe, I wouldn't have made it past week 4, Vince argues. My meltdown might have lost me the game, but my fire got me to the finale in the first place. Fans online have been divided. Some sympathize with Vince, saying his breakdown was a genuine moment of human vulnerability in an otherwise cutthroat game. Others see it as proof that he wasn't mentally strong enough to handle the pressures of winning. Vince himself takes the criticism in stride. People can say what they want. I'm proud I lasted 90+ days in there. Most people wouldn't survive a week. And if my breakdown made someone out there feel like they're not alone when they lose it sometimes, then maybe it wasn't all bad. Life after the house. Since leaving the Big Brother bubble, Vince has been adjusting to life back in the real world, a transition he admits hasn't been easy. The weirdest part is having a phone again, he says. I went 3 months without it, and now it's blowing up nonstop. Family, friends, strangers sliding into my DMs. It's surreal. He's also been navigating the dual reality of newfound fame, being both celebrated and criticized everywhere he goes. 1 minute, someone's asking for a selfie, telling me I'm their favorite. The next, someone's tweeting that I'm the most unstable finalist ever. It's a trip. As for what's next, Vince isn't ruling anything out. Offers have already come in for reality spin-offs, podcasts, and even brand partnerships. I'd love to do more TV, he admits. Maybe not locked in a house 24/7 again, but something where I get to show more of myself, not just the meltdowns. Lessons learned. When asked what he learned from his Big Brother journey, Vince pauses for the first time in the conversation. I learned that I'm stronger than I thought, but also that I've got work to do, he says. My temper, my emotions, they're part of me, but I don't want them to define me. That finale showed me I need to work on staying grounded, even when the pressure's insane. He also says he hopes fans take away one key message from his story, that being vulnerable, even in front of millions, doesn't make you weak. People think a meltdown means you're broken, Vince says. But nah, it means you're human. And if Big Brother taught me anything, it's that humans are messy, complicated, and sometimes explosive. And that's okay. The legacy of Vince Panaro. In the end, Vince Panaro didn't win the $500,000. He didn't walk out with the confetti or the crown. What he did walk out with, though, was something arguably more lasting, a place in Big Brother history. For better or worse, his finale meltdown will be replayed, memed, and debated for years to come. Some will remember him as the hothead who blew his shot at victory. Others will celebrate him as the bold, unapologetic player who made the season unforgettable. As for Vince, he's choosing to see it as both. I didn't get the money, but I got the experience of a lifetime, he says with a smile. I got to live the craziest summer of my life, make friends and enemies, and show the world exactly who I am, for better and worse. And honestly, I wouldn't trade that for anything.